This film is a brief summary of progress on the Hughes helicopter's YAH-64 Advanced Attack Helicopter program. It is designed to be a fast, light, highly maneuverable helicopter with the ability to survive the 12.7 23mm combat environment. More than 40 members of the U.S. Army AAH team, headed by Brigadier General Samuel Cockerham, program manager, visited Hughes during the week of March 18 to conduct a 3-day full-scale review of the YAH-64 engineering mock-up. General Cockerham expressed satisfaction with the manner in which the review was conducted and with the progress made by Hughes Helicopters and its 14 primary subcontractors. The mock-up review was conducted within time and cost limitations. The week was climaxed by a visit to the Hughes plant by Secretary of the Army Howard Callaway. Chief executives of the 14-member Hughes Advanced Attack Helicopter subcontractor team took part in Secretary Callaway's orientation tour and AAH briefing. Following a visit to the mock-up review area, the Secretary and subcontractor team members were introduced to some 2,500 Hughes helicopter and Hughes aircraft employees who were involved with the AAH program.
And our Chief Executive, Tom Stoltnagel.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great day for the attack helicopter program. We have recently completed a major milestone in this program by presenting the mock-up, the detailed mock-up of the helicopter to the Army. And the second very fine opportunity today is to have the Secretary of the Army able to come by our company and to review the Army's attack helicopter mock-up firsthand. He has agreed to talk to all of you about the attack helicopter, what it means to the Army, and we consider that a very fine opportunity, and that's why we called all of you here. We have also asked all of the team members of Hughes Helicopters, attack helicopter team, to be here and to present themselves with the Secretary on this occasion. And I would like to present these people to you at the present time. From your left to right, Carl Perry, who introduced me a minute ago, Vice President of Marketing at Hughes Helicopters. Bob Bricks, next to him, who's Director of Ordnance for Hughes Helicopters. Dr. Fred Adler, Vice President of Hughes Aircraft. Richard Batea, who's Chairman of the Board of Batea Corporation. Jack Teskey, Vice President of Air Research, Garrett Corporation. Ed Speck, Manager Aerospace Programs for General Electric, who's doing the engines on the program. George Wing, President of High Shear Corporation. Dr. Alan Puckett, who you all know is Executive Vice President, Hughes Aircraft Company. Ray Hopper, Senior Vice President, Suma Corporation, who you also know extremely well. Frank Jameson, Tool Research and Engineering Corporation. George Anisman, Vice President of Monasco. John Ford, Solar Division of International Harvester. Bill Brooks, Sperry Flight Systems Division. Barry Shillito, who's President of Teledyne Ryan Aeronautical. Larry Kaufman, who's the President of Teledyne Systems Company. Clark Biggers, Vice President, Tool Research and Engineering Corporation. Phil Gomez, President of Western Gear Corporation. Brigadier General Samuel Cockerham, United States Army Attack Helicopter Program Manager. And John Kerr, as you all know, is the Director of the Attack Helicopter Program at Hughes Helicopters. Now, these people represent a tremendous strength to our program. Their combined sales are something like $20 billion a year, and they represent the employment of 850,000 people. So I think you can understand that together we make a very strong team. It's my pleasure at this point to introduce the Secretary of the Army, the Honorable Howard Callaway.
Thank you very much, Tom. It's a great privilege and pleasure for me to be here at Hughes Helicopters today on this beautiful sunny morning of the spring in California. Seriously, it's a real thrill. This is the first chance I've had to meet with any group like this, and to have you out here it's a great pleasure. I just want to remind you of one thing that your president told me this morning. He has a program called No Excuses. And the fact that you're out here instead of working is not an excuse for a slip schedule. I want you to know that. Seriously, I'd just like to take a moment to say a word or two about how I see my job as the Secretary of the Army, and then a word or two about the importance of the attack helicopter program that you're working on now. I've been Secretary of the Army a little less than a year now, and I've, of course, had to sort of set some priorities of what the important things for me to do are. And during this first year, the key priority, the one that has taken most of my time, has been manning the volunteer army. And I would just like to remind you, unless you are aware of that unless we man the volunteer army with good, competent, qualified young men and women, then you don't have a job here either, because we've got to have someone to fly that great helicopter that you're making. So to those of you who are concerned about whether we can have a volunteer army that is effective and will work and will fulfill the global mission that the Army has to maintain a generation of peace, let me say that the volunteer army is working. We have a far better army today than the day the draft ended, and what I would like to ask you to give your full efforts to is to supporting this army, because if we have the support of the American people, if you and your sons and your daughters support it, believe in it, belong to it, then the success of the Army is assured, and the success of programs such as yours is, of course, enhanced. Because of the effort that I've placed on this and the efforts I've given to it, I haven't spent as much time as I would like to in looking at our various research and development programs. The Undersecretary of the Army, Herm Stout, the Assistant Secretary of the Army for Research and Development, Norm Augustine, have given a great deal of their attention to this. But as we see the volunteer army succeeding, I'm going to attempt to give a whole lot more of my time also to see the kinds of things you're doing. I'm sure you're well aware that this attack helicopter is one of what the Army calls the Big Five. It is one of our 5 key programs, the 5 key programs to keep the Army and technology in a position so that our fine soldiers can fight on any battlefield in whatever mission we're required to perform. It's an extremely exciting program. It's one that all of us feel will be a kind of program that can point in many ways for others to follow and learn from what you're doing here. It is one of the first that we are taking a new concept with competition between at least 2 companies and with a firm designed to cost, which is absolutely imperative to us. I think the exciting thing about this program as compared to others is that the approach that Hughes is taking, as opposed to the approach that your competitor is taking, is a very different approach. And we're going to have a chance, when that final decision is made, to look to compare 2 very different types of helicopters. Your competition is good. Your competition expects to win. As a matter of fact, when we selected the 2 companies that we did, we received a lot of strong criticism for selecting Hughes. That criticism was because this company has not built helicopters in the size and numbers that we're talking. And there were a lot of questions as whether we really thought you had the capability to do it. Let me assure you that if in our judgment you did not have the capability, you never would have been selected. Let me assure you, too, that the performance of the OH-6 in Vietnam, where every Army pilot that I've talked to is so pleased with that helicopter and what it did and what it could do, let me tell you that that had a lot to do with the reason that you were selected. Let me tell you that the subcontractors who are standing behind us, and this is a different philosophy from your competitor, you are subcontracting a great deal more than he is. The subcontractors who are standing behind us and our confidence in them and their ability to produce was one of the reasons that you are selected. And I'm looking forward with a great deal of excitement to the time when we can see that bird that we saw the mock-up this morning and see it flying and see what it will do and see if it lives up to the tremendous performance that you say it will do, and we feel sure that it would, or we would not have the confidence in you to be spending the money that we're spending to see what it can do. I think the most exciting thing about this program is that in the design to cost, as I'm sure you well know, you are given a cost that the aircraft must adhere to. You cannot exceed that cost. But within that, you can do almost anything you want to get the kind of helicopter you think is best. And the subcontractors are aware that they can change any kind of thing they want to come up with something cheaper, something better, something that will do the job, something easier to maintain, so that you've got a better aircraft. And no longer are we giving you specifications to say exactly how it must be done. We're saying, here's what it must do, here's the performance we expect, and you can change within that any way you want. And this is an exciting, thrilling concept, because we are already seeing change after change after change that's made, far better than any of us started out, because some of you on the job have seen some way to improve this airplane. And let me tell you that when the time comes that the two different airplanes fly, and we have to make that very difficult decision, and it's always difficult, because I can promise you, in our opinion, there will be two excellent airplanes to choose from. When that time comes, and when you want your aircraft to be selected, as much as I know you do, the fact that each of you have tried to find ways to make it cheaper, to make it better, to make it more efficient, will be the key to the success of this aircraft in that competition. It's a very exciting program. This aircraft will give us capabilities we now do not have. It will give us capabilities in various situations that we think are extremely important. The success of the Army, to a large measure, of course, depends on its equipment. Unless our equipment is superior to, and clearly superior to, that of our adversaries, then we are not taking advantage of the technology that this country has. And we would be making a great mistake for the country. I've enjoyed what I've seen. I'm tremendously impressed by what I've seen. You've got an important job ahead of you. You've got tight schedules. You've got important deadlines. And I'm thrilled with the enthusiasm I find here for meeting those deadlines and exceeding specifications all along the way. With that kind of enthusiasm, you can be certain of success. If there's anything we in the Army can do to be of help, we stand ready to do it. Thanks again for letting me be with you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. We accept the challenge. All of the team members will continue the type of activity that we've had. We will present the Army with a great attack helicopter, and we will win.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. These proceedings are concluded.